welcome, both of you. Let's just look right into Cal Powell and see what's going on. Hey, Cal.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, we need to buy him.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And so welcome once again to another installment of Cal's Corner. And so a little bit has happened since we last talked. And so, but who would be willing to go on a trip with these guys?
Wouldn't turn it down. Yeah, I'd go. I would definitely.
Okay, today's topic is Colander 399. Now, this group of stars was first noted by the Persian astronomer Al-Sufi in 964. It was rediscovered by an Italian astronomer, Giovanni Battista Hodierna, in 1654. The amateur astronomer Dalmero Francis Brocchi mapped the star group for the AAVSO in the 1920s. And that's why a lot of us knew this group as Brocchi's cluster. And the Swedish astronomer Per Colander included the group as entry 399 in his catalog of open clusters published in 1931. So there you can see the arrow pointing to it. It's in the constellation Vulpecula, not one of your easily identified constellations, but it's fairly easy to find. It's about a third of the way, or 2/3 of the way from Altair to Deneb, I believe. About a third of the way from Altair to Deneb, 8 degrees south of Albireo. And in dark skies, which many of us can only dream of, it has naked eye visibility as a cloudy patch. Several names: Al-Sufi's cluster, Brocchi's cluster, Colander 399, and the coat hanger. It actually is not an open cluster, it's just an asterism. The distances to the stars vary, and so they're not really related to each other. They vary from magnitudes 5 to 7, and it's about a degree in size. And the distances vary from 240 to 2250 light years away. But wait, there's more. So there's also, if you look just to the west of the cluster, or the group of stars, the asterism, you'll see what looks like a thickening of the density of the Milky Way back here. That is NGC 6802. And so that has the nickname, the coat hanger cluster. It's an open cluster that was discovered by William Herschel back in 1783. It's magnitude 8.8. And its 60 stars occupied an area of about 5 minutes of arc across. And it's about 3,700 light years away. So let me switch screens over to Stellarium. And we'll zoom into the cluster. So again, here we have Altair, Vega, and Deneb. And it's actually about a third of the way from Altair to Vega. So if we zoom in roughly to this spot here, and you'll see the coat hanger shape, upside down coat hanger, become evident. So very easy to spot. And if we just keep going to the west a bit, we see the cluster NGC 6802. So that's it for this month. And be back next month with something else new in Cal's Corner. Okay.
Thanks, Cal. Woo!
Thank you very much. And I'm excited to hear what happened at STELLAFANE with the Bob Meadows report.
We all are. Can't wait. All 8 of us are ready to rock it.
Did you just unmute that? Really? I have been practicing to do this entirely with ventriloquism. You haven't seen my lips move once. And now you couldn't hear me either. Great.
Oh.
So Swan Nebula. Got this one at STELLAFANE. Actually, I got that one at STELLAFANE too, but I got that one at STELLAFANE after the clouds cleared at 10 o'clock on Friday night.
Look at that. Look at the intricacy of the patterns inside of it.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to pull out detail when you got clouds of the sky that dark. Can't really do that here. Not easily. And of course, Franco. Check my notes here.
Yeah, it was a beast.
Active region 2842. There's details information. Incredible. And this is a full disk hydrogen alpha image of active region 2846. Well, that one was full disk. This one's inverted, 2846. And a flame-shaped prominence. I think this is the same one that,
Well, looks like it, isn't it?
yeah, same one Perka. So stellar, as always. Upcoming astronomical events, not a whole lot. Got some moons. That's about it.
We do have an event coming up September 24th at Utah, or whatever the name of it now is, Danbury.
Yeah.
So we've done.
But that's not an astronomical event. That's a WASP event.
Oh, that's a lots of them.
It's a
Is it on
WASP
there?
event. No.
No. So.
You didn't put it on it.
Right.
So now you can correct. It.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So September 24th, we'll be in Danbury and use as many volunteers as we can. I know that Zane's going to bring us 24 if he can make it there without crashing, and I think we're going to bring the 25 and as many telescopes as we can get, as well as the lunch. I'd like to make sure that we have a lunch up there.
Right. The Vineyard wants to do another star party maybe in November.
That went well.
It went great. They loved it. They're very excited. And also we have the Connecticut Star Party, but registration's now closed. So the handful of people that registered, hopefully we have clear skies. Which I'll say. Still do the Zoom meeting before that. I think Friday was
Right.
Any chance of getting that other deadline? Thank you for me. I can check.
Oh, the thing? Yeah, they have this stuff.
I'll ask you. Right. And coming up next, our feature lecture.
Uh-oh.
Sure. Hey, bring him on. Our star reporter. Man who needs no introduction.
So you get one
That's why
anyway.
I give him-
Bob Meadows. Hey, Bob.
There you go.
All good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is one of Michael's images from his drone. 2021 STELLAFANE convention. That was August 5th to the 8th. Breezy Hill. So on the way up with a trailer, you always have to find a place to eat lunch where you have room to park the trailer. And in Massachusetts, they've changed all the exit numbers. So if I was going past exit 10, I saw a little sign that said former exit 13. So I missed that one, but I did find another fast food restaurant to stop at. And they had enough room for me to park. And then this is on the way up in Vermont. You can see the sky is very cloudy. And this is in Springfield. Starting to Springfield. And there's the Stone Church, where that's sort of a landmark. And they used, people from this church used to do the barbecue chicken dinner. And then it was taken over by the vendor, and now that vendor left, but there's no chicken dinner this year.
The lobster, the chicken dinner.
Was the food any good? Was it better with the new guy?
You know, they're okay.
I'll talk about it more later. I got there at 3:30 and had to wait about 20 minutes in line. This is the entrance.
You tell them Phil Harrington sent me?
Yeah, there was everybody was telling them Phil Harrington, and they were getting tired. Okay, and when I went in, I meant to go to the camping area, but I made a wrong turn and went to the observing field. So I just drove onto the observing field and unloaded the 25 and set it up. This is Phil Harrington and
Grizzly Adams.
Yeah, Todd decided to grow a beard, I guess, over the pandemic. I think he's trying on. His boss wants him to shave it off after this camping trip. Had a couple of problems with the telescope. One thing, the swing came off the mirror, and we were able to fix that pretty easily by pointing straight up and larger mirror and getting it back on. The other thing was the two switches on the bottom. One of them is for the motors, and somehow that turned on. We had loaded this like 3 days in advance, so that the battery for the motors was completely dead. And so we've had to swap in our spare and put the dead one on the charger, put it on the day and a half charge. You also had fun with brackets to the ladder. Oh yeah, I didn't. I was going to mention that. Yeah. There are some metal pieces that hold the railing onto the ladder, and Michael would help me pack. And when we got there, we're unloading, and the place where I usually put these metal pieces, and if they weren't there, we couldn't remember where we put them. Michael did find them, the other parts. So that was not the, yeah. And then I moved over to our camping area. I sleep in the van, so I just park along the trees here. So actually, it cleared up beautifully on Thursday, and they have this observing Olympics, where there are two parts to it. There's a telescope part and binoculars. This is for the telescopes, and it's a list of 25 objects, and if you observe 15 of them, you get the award. And there was one here was a planetary nebula that was only 6 seconds in diameter. That was tough to find, and when I did find it, it just looked like a slightly fat star. And Gamma Delphini was a nice double star. NGC 7331 is the Deer Lick Galaxy, which is a real nice galaxy. NGC 891 is another nice galaxy. So it's a mixture of pretty
7331 is that edge on.
Yeah, edge on with some little galaxies around it.
Yeah.
And once you finish the 15, I actually did 17. Okay, this is the pin you got. Cellophane observing objects. These objects were all discovered by William Herschel. And so this is Herschel's telescope, and you can see the little cellophane character moving into the telescope. Okay, this is the next morning, Friday morning, and that's Michael, Dan, Zane, me, and Carl Lancaster. And back is Shannon. And this is Paul Nelson, and with his legs up is Todd Nelson.
We're on chapter says Springfield here.
Oh, Todd said that?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's not a lot going on during the day on Friday. So a group of us went to this Vermont country store. Yeah, it's a really big place. They have lots of different departments. This was their like meat and cheese and food area. And they had a collection of antique scales and lots of other stuff, all kinds of candy and old games, toys, and stuff. And after we left there, we drove past this place. It looks like a farm, but the silo actually has a observatory dome on the top of the observatory.
Yeah, there was, we kind of pulled too far down to get a really nice view of, there's solar, all those solar panels on the side of the barn there. And I wish we could see the dome a little better, but it's pointed right at, the slot is pointed right
You
at.
just barely see the bottom of the slot.
Yeah.
And then Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, Phil Harrington gave a talk on introduction to binoculars. Basically, what to look for when you're buying binoculars for astronomy. And this is done in the Flanders Pavilion, which has large sliding doors on the sides, which gives you nice ventilation, but it also makes the slides really washed out. So, you could just read the large lettering and not much else on the slides.
We need 6 eyes for this presentation.
Right. Oh, this is another shot of Todd, and that's Joe Paccione, who's he lives on Long Island, and we've seen him at Cellophane for years. I think it's a good friend of Phil's. Another one. And this is the observing field on Friday, and that's our 25 under the blue tarp. There's another shot of it, and I'm going to try video. Now, was this taken on Friday or
This
Saturday?
is Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one that, yeah, this is Friday.
The silver SUV is Shannon's. The green cut behind it is Todd's tent. Too short. I think you'd even see Michael.
Yeah, he was outside my car.
Yeah, right up there. Who's controlling the drone. For a long time before the event, they were uncertain about whether there'd be food available from a vendor. So we decided to take the old was charcoal grill that we used before we started using gas grill for our food picnic. So we bought
Slow
hamburgers.
cooker.
What?
Slow
Slow
cooker.
cooker, yeah. I think it either should have more charcoal or let it warm up longer.
The initial setting was for a light tan.
Thanks everybody for chipping in on that too. That was really awesome that everybody helped out on that. Thanks for that. Glad I could help.
I don't know, I thought I did enough. other
You
stuff.
did. It was on, it's totally, you're good to go.
So Friday night, they have the informal talks where anybody can give a 10-minute talk on any astronomy related subject. And I went to see, so I didn't see all of them, I saw quite a few of them. This one was for a binocular mount made out of pipe fittings, and the T-fitting on the top acts as a crude sighting device, and the pipe at the bottom acts as a counterweight and as a handle. This was a Boy Scout doing his Eagle Scout project, and he built an observatory for a high school. It's a roll-off roof, 8 feet by 10-foot observatory. He got the wood shop to help and got the metal shop to help. Raised money and got material donated. And this is after it's painted. The roll off. The only thing is, it's got 6-foot high walls, so I'm not sure what kind of telescope you can have in there. The walls.
Big one.
Not a dot. And this guy made a radio telescope, and it receives the 21-centimeter hydrogen line, and you just set it at an angle. Wait for 24 hours as records the signal for 24 hours, and then repeat that for other angles.
Gonna make popcorn?
It's lined with aluminum foil. It's made of masonite lined with aluminum foil, and it could actually measure the red shift and blue shift in different parts of the Milky Way.
What's the spike on the graph?
What?
Excuse me, the spike on the graph.
It's either the sun or the
Oh.
side of the galaxy.
The big spike there.
Well, the dotted line, I think is 21 centimeters, and then this is the strength of the signal as a function of.
Yeah, but as the Earth turns,
What?
as the Earth
Oh.
turns though, it's gotta be, he's hitting the center of the
I can't
galaxy.
read it.
Or the sun.
Power versus time. I could look at the original photograph. Maybe it's up there.
Yeah,
This was someone we wanted to do instead of having an encoder that just takes pulses and count them, an absolute encoder you don't have to initialize. But most of the absolute encoders have an output that's binary. We designed basically a circuit board that converts binary to either degrees and minutes or hours and minutes of word extension. I think even the binary absolute encoder is pretty expensive. Okay, this was another Boy Scout. He built a roll-off observatory 20 feet by 24 feet.
Is he local?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was too big to put on the high school property, so we got a location at a museum or a science center. And
Where is it? Where?
I think it's in Massachusetts. I checked the notes.
Looks like prairie.
That's a big one. Particularly trying to do that with wood prices, you know, to put that thing together. It's just really a good point.
Northern Maine,
Really,
Arrows Fork. I can't read my handwriting.
there are no trees, what happened?
Well,
They're way on the lower left of my center.
I think it's Northern Maine. It's hard to read my handwriting. There it is, finished, and it's got doors on the end. The walls are only 4 feet high. It's got doors on the end, so you can open it up and slide it. across the tall house. I think they got Amish people to do the roof. They volunteers. Their only condition is that no one else go up on the roof. They're working.
Yeah, it's still.
Okay, this is the next morning at the swap tables. Like the tripods, telescopes, the army knives, and books. This guy had a whole table full of meteorites. They have a strict rule against commercial vendors, so I don't think this got a weaker next year. But it was really nice to see a table of meteorites.
Yeah, they might.
You know what, I said like, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But that kind of do.
So
Management at home.
Zane found a few things. This is the stuff Zane bought. He got this telescope tube and red refractor, and over here a couple of mirror blanks, and then some focusers and a wedge.
He got an original John Dobsonian telescope signed by John Dobson.
Oh, here's the sign.
Apparently, it was an original John Dobson.
Oh,
I mean, that's what Zane yelled at 7 a.m.
I missed that one.
7:02.
And this is the main event, the telescope competition. This is a really nice one. This 14.7 inch at 4.3. It won first place in mechanical design, third place in craftsmanship, and it got an innovative component award. The innovative component is that you can collimate by turning the poles. And the poles are threaded on one end and have a ball bearing on the other end. So as you turn it, it changes length. And he would turn. I was trying to figure out the geometry. I think what you do is, if you want to tilt the secondary, you would turn two adjacent poles that come together at the top, and that would effectively change one of the points of the 3 points on the top. And if you want to change the primary collimation, you would turn two poles that come together at the bottom.
Meaning you turn the same amount,
Yeah, you turn in the same amount.
same direction.
Yeah, because say if you lengthen these two, then effectively the mirror would move down.
Right.
But I don't know if that then affects whether you do the primary first or the secondary first, or they affect each other.
I saw him spinning it, but I didn't see, I didn't stick around long enough to see what he was actually doing in the mirror. But I saw him.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
sound like that would work, because if you do the bottom ones, then the top ones are gonna turn too, and you screw up the other one. It looked like on that last shot, there were knobs between the struts. You go back
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
See that knob at the top?
Trying
I
to
think
find
that's,
the-
Between the two poles.
yeah, I think that's for collimating. See, there's knobs. in
Oh, this
between.
knob?
No, well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I was looking at the ones at the bottom.
Yeah, there's knobs in between
At the
the
bottom.
poles. at
These
the bottom.
knobs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that just attaches the block to the base.
maybe. I just don't see how you would turn the bottom of a bar without changing the top.
Unless one side has a.
Yeah, the geometry is complex. He has some kind of procedure which he didn't talk about.
Okay.
Okay, this is the bottom. You can see that the bottom here is, there are plywood rings stacked up to make a cylindrical base. And then there's the side of it is a triangular piece that supports the bearing. It's a light bearing. And then the bottom box, instead of being a square box, it's curved. And it's got fans on the sides and at the top. And the battery also acts as a counterweight.
Where the heck is the echo coming from?
It's yeah, we're putting it on Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a little delay.
Oh, we're getting an echo?
Yeah.
well, I heard it.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Yeah. Well,
It's on minimum volume.
Okay, the front of it is this thin triangle, and the bottom plate has these Y-shaped pieces. One is on the rotating part, one is on the base that's on the ground. So it's very lightweight, very nicely designed. And this is the top of it. There's a holder for a cell phone, which it uses for maps and for finding things. There's also a, you can see a little battery holder at the top. That's for the heater on the secondary mirror.
I saw him using it too, and he had the phone all hooked up so that he had Starry Night or some sort of an app on it that was connected, so it was moving around. As he moved the telescope, it moved too.
You can see there's an encoder on the bottom, but there's really no place to put an encoder on the altitude bearing. So I'm not sure how he does it. And his description also talked about having motors and tracking, but that wasn't really shown. And this is the radio telescope. I think the other one had the outside was gray, now it's blue. And this is another chart we can't read, but I think this shows the red shift and blue shifts from different parts of the Milky Way. Okay, this is a 3D printed
Love this.
eyepiece turret. It holds 3 eyepieces, and all you do is turn it, and you can change eyepieces. It's got a ball bearing with a spring for detent, so it stops in the right spot. And then there's another ring you can turn. It holds 4 filters.
He's rotating the filter so
Yeah, you just click, click, click. and
Yeah,
it'll change
it's
filters.
great. And all 3D printed.
Yeah, all 3D printed.
Yeah, that 3D printing is awesome.
Yeah, well, this is pretty advanced.
Yeah.
This is a cutaway view of it, so it takes the place of the diagonal. So that's a really nice device.
He had a little version of it too that you could play with, and you
Yeah.
could go clunk through it. And
Right.
and it was yeah, Bob's right, it was very complicated. How he put this together, how he conceived of it is pretty amazing.
Okay, I'm not sure if I spelled Becker right. Is that
I'm glad he spelled it that way.
It's CK.
Yeah.
F-E-C-K-E-R?
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to find it on the internet. It's hard to find Beckers on there, especially when you spell it wrong.
Right.
Yeah, don't do that.
What are you? And you get all the answers.
Yeah, a 4-inch specker, you're gonna get something kind of odd.
So this got first place in restoration, and this is a little larger picture, and it's got, unlike ours, which is an all-gas mount, this has an equatorial mount with setting circles, and there are knobs near the eyepiece for finally adjusting the RA deck. That's a really nice Really nice telescope.
Beautiful.
Okay, this is a 6-inch f20 Dog Kirkham. A Dog Kirkham is similar to a Cassegrain.
There's no corrector plate on the front.
Right, right. So this guy just made the tube assembly, not the mount. So that's why it's in the special category. And I got second place in the special category. To be rated as a telescope, you have to build everything. And they have a separate category for masters, which is either you're a professional or you've won first place in the past, then you're in a separate category, just competing with other masters. And this one, second place master optical, second place master mechanical design, and first place master craftsmanship. And this is intended to be as a loaner. And they put a zoom eyepiece in it. Really nice telescope to loan out. And this guy, I guess he'd already been judged, packing up. This is a 12-inch f5. The bottom connectors for the poles are very similar to ours on the 25, same with the poles. But this is a 12.5-inch.
You didn't win anything, I take it.
No,
You got an attaboy.
okay, this
Explain
is
this one, Bob. I talked
Yeah.
to this guy and I still didn't understand.
it's an artificial star field, and there are 9 pinholes. I think these gray discs have the pinholes in them, and there must be a luminous panel behind it. I'm not sure what the middle thing does. Also, you probably have to put this like 100 feet from the telescope or more in order to focus on it. So the idea is to have a group of artificial stars rather than just having one star and check your collimation in the center. You can check it on the edges. Anybody agree with-
It doesn't move.
No, he did a talk on it down at the pavilion, but I
Oh.
didn't see it.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I just don't quite get it.
We got honorable mention.
It makes sense, you know, for collimation, but yeah, look at the distance you'd have to have, be away from the telescope to be able to get that correct.
I wanted to see somebody had to check the guiding, you know,
Right.
artificial rotating field.
Yeah.
And this was her first scope. They get a certificate if they enter the first scope that they built. 6-inch f5. I thought she was probably a junior, but she's in college. So she's you have to be under 16 to be in the junior category. I don't think anybody was in the junior category this year.
No.
And this won several awards. 8-inch f5.4. It tied for first place for the optical, third in mechanical design, and second in craftsmanship. Very nice woodworking. And for the counterweight, he has a stack of these weights that are exercise weights that he got for $1 a piece. Okay, this is a Questar that was restored, and there was something wrong with all of the optics, and he bought it for $700, and then he paid $1,800 for the new optics to put in it, and rebuilt it and refurbished it. We got second place in the restoration. There's a closer picture of it.
That's a good old telescope.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Still hanging on to it.
Yeah, I got it set up in my
Yeah,
apartment now. Yeah, I got it set up in the apartment. Zane took it out for a test drive, an extended test drive. This is neat. I really like
Yeah,
this.
there's a binocular telescope. There are 2 Newtonian telescopes. Each one is 4.5-inch f8. And he's built other binocular telescopes in the past, and he won first in the master mechanical design and second in master craftsmanship. it's got quite a few knobs on it.
Yeah, the back was how you change the inner pupil area, that rotator in the back.
Well, there are two knobs here. I thought this was for the convergence. I thought the one in the front was for the pupil distance.
I'll notice it.
I'm not sure.
It's very similar to the stuff with the bank.
Yeah, I think that may be the same guy. Because the one eyepiece is very far from the secondary. We have to have a larger secondary on the lower telescope. This shows the eyepieces. And you see there's a little bellows here. So as you move one of the telescopes back and forth, the space in between the eyepieces changes. It's also angled, so you can.
We had it on the
Look to the side.
top of some treetops, but boy, the view, the it's like fake dimensional, but it is, the view is really immersive. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't hook to it.
yeah, it looked great.
And this device is it's similar to a Telrad, except you can, if you know the direction and distance from a bright star, you set this dial to the angle and then position the star on the scale while you're looking through here. The only thing is, it seems, since it's an off-azimuth, how do you know the angle to start from? I don't know. I think you do it from north. But I don't think that was part of the content. And this is a 6-inch f8, and this tied for first place for optical. That was also his first scope. And when I saw this guy, I thought he had built it, but it's the guy in the red shirt, the guy who actually built it. This is a 120 millimeter f8.3 tabletop scope. So it was built using recycled components. So it's not like an actual antique. It's the handle on the front looks like it's from a tripod. And this is some kind of a small table. And it's got these strings that somehow stabilize it. So the eyepiece is here, and the diagonal here. So this is a really nice one. This is a travel scope, and it fits in a suitcase and a carry-on suitcase. And it's 12 inches f4.59. And two people built it. One guy did the mirror, and the other guy did everything else.
And he was talking about he was taking it all over the country. He's gone to the Winter Star party a couple times. He's taking it coast to coast. He's taking it around. And yeah, do you have a picture of the suitcase?
Maybe in the background in one of them.
Yeah, it's just to the right.
He got first place in optical and master category. Honorable mention for mechanical design. And I think it said it was like 7/8 inch mirror. Yeah. This is the top of it.
The veins are first, supporting the second.
Yeah, that keeps it from getting the diffraction spikes.
Yeah, but you know, the diffraction spikes are good way of checking the focus. If you end up with
Yeah,
two or more spikes in the focus.
you're still getting diffraction just spread out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here you can see part of the suitcase. This is the base. It's got these extensions, give it a wider base. And I think everything comes apart. So it's all just assembled.
You said you can put it together and take it apart in just a few minutes. It didn't take too long.
Oh. Yeah. And then there's a stock that holds this electronic setting circles. Oh, also the poles are all half poles with connector. Fit those in the suitcase. This one is a 10-inch f4, so this also looks like a good travel scope. And the innovative component was a continuously variable spring balance. And I don't see it here, so I don't know anything about it. I was looking on the website, but they didn't have any pictures of this scope on the website.
There's an article on that, a couple of years back, how to make one of those.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Giant times.
What does that mean? What's the variable spring balance?
Instead of having a counterweight, you have a spring
Oh,
with a cable. But usually it's got to be sort of fine-tuned for the particular telescope, so making it variable. Maybe that's the innovative part. And this is Jordan with 17 and a half, that's 4.5. She just got a certificate for the first telescope. So good size Dobsonian. Here are the judges doing an evaluation of it. And this is Zane's 14-inch f2.8, and it's got a tracking base of 1 cent, like that. But it'll track for about an hour before you have to reset it.
no,
I haven't, no.
he's had it here before, but I haven't looked at it.
And again, it's really, really well made.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's come up on his design.
Yeah.
I've never worked with you.
Yeah.
But it's that F2, that's a big battle. 2.8,
Yeah.
that's really fair.
Zane kept making the point when we were at STELLAFANE, Fix Bob, a couple of us, an hour to set up 25, take it down. Zane is up and running in just a couple of minutes with his telescope. And, you know, so there is a case to be made to find something that faster mirror telescope for portability. I mean, we can keep the 25 here, there's no reason to get rid of it. But for going off and for setting stuff up, why not have big telescope fast mirror?
But I mean, even like the 24, the 24, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do something like that, it's on like an 18-inch, you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 24-inch, his is only like 8 feet high.
Yeah, and that's just, you know, you just have to.
Yeah, so that-
step.
So that's 3.5, so instead of being 10 feet up, it's 7 feet up. You only need a small ladder with 1 or 2 steps.
Yeah.
And you know, what do you lose? The light gap.
Oh, yeah, 24.
And again, it's really, really well.
Yeah, but I don't think he did all the. I mean, he scrabbled around and bought used parts to put that together, so it's not all. But I mean, he assembled it. He put it together. It's his thing. But I don't think he made it.
And this is 24, the 14, and the stuff. Here's Pink Clubhouse with Michael, Dan, Carl. This is the Flanders Pavilion. You can see the open doors, which give nice ventilation.
You don't have to wear a mask, so.
Yeah.
You had to wear a mask inside. You had to wear a mask inside the Flanders. And also inside the clubhouse.
It make a lot of sense into the ventilation.
You know, I think that it's still been this year. There was all sorts of. They had all sorts of rules in place that were kind of way too ruly, you know, and things sort of got a little better, more laid back as.
It was a lot less crowded than
Right.
expected. Like in the dining tent, they wanted you to eat quickly, then get out, make room for the people, and there was plenty of room. And
I think that they had about 800 people.
wide
It's about 800.
What is that, Stella?
Yeah.
Well, you usually get 3 or 4 or 5 towns.
Yeah, I think, well, we heard it, I got to come in there. They told us at the gate there was 770 registered. But I think there was more people there than 770. But not many.
That's a surprise to me.
Yeah, it was, so look at here, there's no, normally there's all sorts of cars parked all down there. There's no cars parked there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
usually you could barely get through. Well,
yeah, so normally that's just packed with cars.
Wait, you mean here?
Yeah,
No, this is the steep part of the,
oh, that is?
there's
Oh,
another fence farther up.
Okay. Now you think.
Oh, they keep losing the,
Yeah,
cursor.
yeah.
Okay, on Saturday, we had talks in the Flanders Pavilion, and at 11 o'clock, there was one on the Hubble Space Telescope, which people that went to it, so it was really good. 12 o'clock was on photo multiplier, which I thought it was an image intensifier, but it's just basically a single pixel that measures like the brightness of one star, but it can detect really dim stars. But we didn't see that. We were at the Breezy Hill. And at 1 o'clock was a talk on light pollution and international activities. 2 o'clock was on a portable 3D printed mount. And I saw part of that in the building. I think they printed a mount and then filled it with cement to make it rigid. And then this one was pretty good. It was called Cover Calibrator, and it was basically on how to make a calibrator for flat fields, a uniform lit. And they had 2 methods. One was around the front of the telescope. They had LEDs pointing out, and then they put it near a white screen, a uniformly illuminated screen. The other way was where they cover, like a flip up, flip down cover. At the bottom of it was illuminated with like these LEDs and a diffuser. And the other thing they talked about was a weather sensing device that would detect clouds and rain. And they said they would have all the plans and parts lists and everything on the AAVSO website. The AAVSO instrumentation page.
Is that optic?
Oh, they were talking about, I think it was talking about a commercial one. Commercial.
Yeah.
From Alnatac, now at Optech. So he tested all kinds of different LEDs. Anyway, in the past, they always had 2 tanks for the food, one for the dining area and one for the food preparation. And this year they actually had a building for the food preparation.
That's new.
I'm sure they had a tent 2 years
They
ago.
had a tent before.
Yeah. Yeah, now they have the building.
That's new.
So that's pretty nice. And here's the service window and menus here. They had hot,
This is the stuff that
they had hot dogs, hamburgers, Italian sausage, steak and cheese. They also had grinders, salads.
I like the people that were working there
They were very
better
nice.
this year than previous. The other guys think so. I don't know.
They're a little snarly.
I thought, yeah, that's a thing.
And then
These guys are nice.
on Saturday for dinner, they also had lasagna or shepherd's pie. So I had the lasagna.
Yeah. Good enough.
And this is the Saturday night presentation. That's Carl Nelson, Michael, Ron. I think Ron is from Long Island. Carl Lancaster, Dan, Phil Harrington, Shannon, Joe Pacione, and this is Chris Hartnett, who was a member here for a long time, and then he moved to Virginia. So he came up to Virginia to STELLAFANE for his first time at STELLAFANE. And he has one of these automated telescopes. It's a 4.5-inch telescope with a built-in camera. And you point it at the sky, and it takes an image, figures out where it's pointing. And then it's a go-to and will image. And as you stay on an object, it keeps getting more and more data.
Yeah, I played with it for, I don't know, an hour or so that night. And it builds up quick images on your phone. I'll show you some of the pictures. That it got a M51, which is, you know, decent enough. I don't think we gave it enough time to, at least when I was using it, I don't think I got enough time on the objects. Some of the things too that were up, they couldn't find, they didn't know that was up in the app. But there were some weaknesses to it. And I really liked that it was such a good entry telescope. It's a very expensive, it's like $3,500 entry telescope for astrophotography. But you can just sit there and bang stuff out all night. You know, once you got it running. And it just downloads it right onto your phone, just instantly. And you can watch it build up, sort of like, what is the online? The program. Yeah, but what's that online thing that, with the telescope on Canary Islands? SLU. It's similar to SLU, where you watch this thing build up in front of you. And yeah, it's
And also like our other camera that we have here.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, EV scope. I'm sorry, it is EV scope.
Yeah. There's an article about it in the March Astronomy magazine.
It's with Filippenko is pitching at our
Right.
December party. Yes. And it works as described, but you know, it's pretty steep entry at $3,500. Yeah, but the discount only covers, what was it? It covered like I don't know, like the case for it. So you get a free case basically if you get the discount. Yeah, it's Unistellar. That's the company.
Okay, this is looking down towards the screen and the announcer. On the left side, all the members of the Springfield Telescope makers sit on the left side. See a large group over there. And this is a view looking to the left.
So we say it's about 4 of the people that are only on that one.
Yeah. Yep.
So they had the kids raffle and the adult raffle, and then all the awards. All the awards for the telescopes. Then they had the shadowgram talk. And finally, they had the keynote speaker, Stella Kafka, who's the director of the AAVSO. And she talked about the dimming of Meadows. Now, for a long time, it was a mystery, and they finally determined it. They ejected a cloud of dust blocking part of the star. And she also talked about something called SNEWS, which is Supernova Early Warning System. And when there should be 2 or 3 supernovas per century in our Milky Way, and there hasn't been one for quite a while. And they think they'll get an early warning from either neutrinos or gravity waves. And I think what they want is for people to do measurements. If they get this warning, people to do measurements to see the beginning of the supernova. But she didn't really explain it. That's an interesting project. And we didn't have any rain except one morning before we got up. There was a shower. Everything was wet. And when I came home, when I got to around New Haven, it was a heavy rain shower. So when I got to the pier, I didn't unload the 25. I just parked it. And then Monday afternoon also raining. So this was Tuesday afternoon. I was unloading the 25 and settling up. There's the ladder, putting on the shroud. Next year it'll be a little earlier, July 28th to 31st. There you go.
Well, thank you very much.
Up and out.
Woo-hoo.
Any word on the meteor camera?
What?
The meteor camera?
I emailed them not too long ago. They said they're still working on it.
2 weeks ago they said it was cool.
Yeah, that's what it was. But anyway.
What's the media? Well, I mean, I know what it's for.
Well, we're doing a partnership with the guys in New Haven. And so they provided us.
No,
I'm sorry, New Milford. And they provided us with an all-sky camera that will, with them and hopefully with, we'll do something with Yale, we'll get a nice triangulation of where potential falls might happen and give us a chance to go get those meteors. So that's the end game of this. Right now, it's just to keep an eye on the sky and see where these things are happening and get a better idea. But the end game is for us to go find meteors.
wow.
That is the,
They supplied us with the camera, and cables, and a computer, and software, and everything. We installed it up on the tower. But we were
Up and running now.
no.
well, it was for a while, but we were getting horizontal lines in the image that interfered with the detection software. We were trying to figure out how to fix that. I think it's something internal to the camera.
They're getting
So
the
they
same
took
thing
it out.
up in New Milford. So it wasn't just a local phenomenon, it happened up there too. So they're trying to figure out a new camera and maybe a better glass bell too.
Is there something they made themselves? Or?
Yeah, it's something that they didn't make, but they assembled themselves. And yeah, so I got them all fired up about including us in this project. And so they're still working out the fine details on it. You know, NASA, we had an opportunity a long time ago to be part of the NASA Fireball network. And NASA completely dropped the ball, not only on just us, on New Milford and lots of other places around. So the New Milford guys really took the bull by the horns and did it themselves. And I heard about them doing it because I read their newsletter. I said, hey, we'd be really interested in doing this too. And they go, wow, you're just like in the perfect spot to triangulate. So if we could have Yale or that area someplace around New Haven and us, they're all like perfectly, it's like a perfect triangle. You'll really be able to figure out where it is, where these things happen.
Because right now, they assume it's going to be a certain altitude in the sky, and then they, from their altitude angle, they can tell how far away it is. So that's not very accurate. So they would have it from two different angles that can get the actual distance and altitude.
What lens are they using for it?
You know, I don't know. They've changed stuff around. The camera that they had before clearly had a fail. So I think that they're reevaluating all of their camera, our camera, and whoever they get next. First, they got to get their stuff working where they're happy with it. Then we're second again. So once they got theirs figured out, they're going to do that. And so it doesn't cost us anything other than time. Bob put a lot of time into installing that up there. Mike did some welding and some stuff. I mean, there's a lot that we put into it, and then they wanted all the wires and everything back so they could figure out where the problem was. So disassembly was another major job.
Wow.
Yeah, a little bit experiment. So we're hoping that, you know, whatever they come up with next, that it'll be a little more stable.
It's a wide angle lens, something like. 30 degrees.
Yeah,
Not, doesn't go to the horizon.
they had kind of a cheap bell, the glass bell. I don't think it was glass, it was plastic.
Oh, so.
Yeah, the dome. So you know, there's room for improvement here, but you know, I'm
Has speeders go in. Has speeders go in.
yeah. So you know, it's interesting to see. But once they do have it running, hopefully we can, like our all sky camera, hopefully we can stream that out to, you know, the meteor camera, or show the highlights. Maybe eventually we can just show, hey, this is what we saw last night. Maybe it'll even automatically do it and tweet about it, which would be great too. So
If it detects the meteor and then saves those. You know, they're. Yeah, you need to do that, otherwise somebody gets crossed by it.
right. Well, the AI in it is the important thing, the detector.
Yeah.
And so there's all sorts of stuff that needs to be worked out. But there are lots of people across the world that have operating meteor cameras in a network. And, you know, I think New England is sadly lacking. I don't think there's much of it. So hopefully we can pull that gap. Right, the lost away team out on the road. In the mystery, the Bob Meadows mystery machine probably.
What?
Nothing. It's all good. Anything else? Bye. Bye, Todd.